Difficult dental patients are rude, they complain about almost anything, and they don't tend to value what you recommend. I'm here to tell you that you can get rid of these patients and see more of your ideal patient that you love by implementing my strategies that I'm going to lay out in this video. What I find with most dentists, and myself included, is that we feel like we have to treat every single patient that comes through our door. It's our duty. Let me tell you a story about a bad patient that I had. Let's just call him Harry. Every time that we called to confirm Harry's appointment, he was always complaining. I don't want to get a text from you. I'm always on time for my appointment. I never miss. But then what did we find? He was always late, and there was always an excuse. Then when my front desk would go to check him in, if he had any sort of copay or out of pocket, it was a battle. Before you knew it, we're 30 to 40 minutes into his appointment before we even bring him back. When we bring him back, I tend to do my exam, do whatever it is that we've recommended for that day, and I try to tell him, hey, I think this is what's best for your health. Does this get received well? No. It's a constant battle. He complains that I'm trying to gouge him for money, or that I'm just trying to pay off my boat, which I don't even own. After this nightmare appointment happening again and again and again, I realized I cannot treat the Harrys in my practice any longer. What I did was I came up with a few key strategies to market to my ideal patient and successfully resign from the Harrys in my practice without feeling like I didn't do my duty as a dentist. We were able to see more and more of our ideal patient and less of our non-ideal patient in my practice by implementing 3 key strategies. The first key strategy is really developing your vision for your ideal patient. The way that you can do this is think about the people that you've already treated. Is there 4 or 5 patients that you just really resonated with? You guys connected, you were able to do really high quality clinical care on them. They loved coming in to see you. Think about this person. Think about the specifics of them. Were they male or female? Did they work? Where did they work? What were their favorite hobbies? Did they have kids? How old were their kids? Was the patient a kid? What did they like to talk to you about? What sort of procedures did you do on them that you found great joy in providing to this patient? If you can think about a few key patients that you saw and what they really got out of you treating them, you will already have a super clear vision on who you love to treat. For me, in my practice, I have developed an ideal patient that has constantly evolved over time. For me, it tends to be women over 50 who have high value for their health. They tend to show this by doing things like going to the gym, going on walks, going hiking or biking, or all the things that people love to do here in the Northwest. They tend to also have funds to be able to pay for the care that they receive. All of us hopefully have some sort of disposable income. Others spend it on healthcare, some spend it on going to Home Depot or TJ Maxx. My ideal client is someone who has some disposable income, who wants to spend it on their health, realizing that their health is their best investment. If you're having a hard time figuring out who your ideal client is, a really good strategy you can implement is identifying who they are not. For me, the way that I developed this was just by treating people. You start to recognize these are the trends and the people that don't tend to resonate with me, or we don't tend to connect. For me, it kind of comes down to some people have high value on their health, some people have low value of their health. For me, I wanted to treat people who had high value on their health. The second thing is people that have funds. We all hopefully have funds to be able to spend on things that bring us value. For some people, that's going shopping, going out to eat, getting coffee. For other people, that's really investing in themselves. For me, my ideal client was somebody who valued their health, and when they had disposable income to spend, they wanted to invest in themselves because they knew that if they were not healthy, they could not live the lifestyle that they wanted. The second key strategy that we implemented to see more and more of our ideal patient was knowing how to market to them well in a way that was going to be effective and get more patients like them in our practice. A really good story of how we were able to do this was a patient of mine who we all loved. Every time they came in, the entire staff was super excited to see them. They were always happy to be there. They were happy to hear what we had to say if we had recommendations for their health, and they always left smiling, and we did too. What I found out about this patient, let's just call her Lisa. Lisa was a 55-year-old woman who was married with 3 kids, and she loved to read, and she was in a club where they would go and read books together and drink wine and have charcuterie boards. When I heard about this, I said, I want more of the women in this club to come into our practice. What we did as an office was we offered to sponsor their next meeting. We bought the wine, we paid for the charcuterie boards, and we just asked Lisa to tell her other members in her group that we were the ones that sponsored it. What we did by implementing this strategy was all of a sudden we had 7 or 8 of her friends who were just like Lisa coming into our practice, and they wanted to talk to us about her experience, about their book club that we sponsored. They were excited. And when you have a patient that comes in that's already a raving fan, it is going to bring so much energy and so much value to your practice and to your staff that all of a sudden you're going to have so much joy just by treating this 7 or 8 extra patients that you were able to market to. Realizing who your ideal client is, once you do that, you can figure out the trends on where these people tend to be, and you can go and market to them directly, either through ground marketing or even social media or Google campaigns, so that you are treating more and more of the patients that you love. The third and final strategy of seeing more ideal patients in your practice took me a lot longer than I'd care to admit, but it's pretty simple. You have to find a way and be strategic in being able to get rid of the non-ideal or bad patients in your office. When it comes to treating patients that are difficult, kind of like the story I told you earlier about our patient nicknamed Harry, you have to be pre-planned and strategic on how you're going to speak to them. And what I want to encourage dentists is to think less about you are not doing your job by not treating everyone that walks through your door and thinking this patient does not seem to be thriving in our practice. It is actually very selfish of you to keep this person in there and to keep putting your staff and you through the torture of having to see this patient on your schedule when they could be really thriving somewhere else. When you think about it this way, you can envision it more, I want to set this patient free as opposed to keep them in a place where they're not doing well. What we did was we, number one, formed a letter that we could give to any patient at any time that simply said, you are not the ideal client for us. This doctor and patient relationship is long-term, and we feel like this is not the best long-term fit for you. And the good news is there are plenty of our colleagues in and around this area that are very highly qualified and can treat you. By having a simple conversation of, hey, Harry, it seems like every time you come in, it just is difficult. I don't want you to have to go through that when you go into a dental practice. I want you to feel at home. I want you to feel like you can stay there long-term and have a great relationship with them. It seems like that's not the right place for us. And so we want to help you find that. And I'm going to give you a list of other colleagues in my area that might be able to treat you very well. What tends to happen is one of two things. Either number one, they shape up and realize this guy is serious and I want to make sure that I'm getting along well with them so that we can have a good relationship. Or number two, they leave your practice and you don't have to deal with them anymore. And what I find is they tend to be happier. By doing these key pre-thought strategies, you can get rid of your not ideal client and not make them feel like you just don't like them, that you actually want them to thrive in a different place that is a better fit. If you're looking to get higher new patient flow of your ideal customer, check out this other video that I made where I outlined how in my first year of dental practice ownership, we averaged 80 new patients per month, mostly of our ideal patient base, without having to sell it to dental insurance companies or take bad patients that we did not love to treat. Thank you so much for watching.